direto de Berlim, do tipo Berlim, Marina Chaccur e Tobias Frere-Jones, pro DiaCrítico. You just had a talk, and then you showed hypotheses about a relationship between metal type with optical sizes and fonts on screen, how they are hinted and rendered. Can we talk a bit more about that?
The idea was that making type work in metal had a development, an answer that was developed over centuries by hundreds of craftsmen that had a very specific kind of response and how proportions would change. And by a kind of coincidence that I had noticed over the years, they were the same kinds of responses that we would need to make something work on the web. Mm-hmm. So my idea was to try to figure out if there's a way to connect this part of history, which seems like it was totally disconnected. It has no way to reach us now, because these are how type was made in metal, used mm-hmm. on printing presses. It has nothing at all to do with the web. But the concepts of how we see forms with our eyes and how the designer can anticipate kinds of distortion and clarity, that part is the same. So if you just separate the old technology and just look at how our eyes and brains work with forms, then they seem very similar. So that was my sort of experiment to try to treat the web as if it were
optical sizes in print.
Yeah, to sort of treat it as the way a punch cutter from 400 years ago would treat it.
Yeah, thanks. And talking about technology, there are many developments in recent months and recent years mm-hmm. that allows us to do much more than it did before. We are not quite there yet with
right.
So many things, but maybe this is one of them. From your perspective and your workflow, is there something specific that you would like technology to advance in a certain direction that would help you?
Well, what I would really like to see is for the person using the typeface and also the person reading that content in the end to see all of the variation and subtlety that I'm able to make but can't deliver in any practical way. So to see a continuous progression from a really fine, delicate size for the very big headlines to the really sturdy size for the really sturdy version for the small sizes, mm-hmm. all the steps in between should be accessible, but I'd have to make all these individual instances
yes.
and make a font menu that goes on forever. It should be simpler than that.
In a more fluid way.
Right. Yeah. And then some people are talking about this in the context of making web fonts responsive in the same way that the whole structure of the page is responsive. And I'm definitely looking forward to that.
That is a great thing.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you.